Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel, and I really do hope you enjoy the content. I do produce a lot of content about video, microphones, podcasting gear and what have you. Well, today we're taking a look at the new Zoom H8 audio recorder. It's been out for a little while, but I only purchased it, 2 or 3 days ago, and about a week ago actually. And I'm loving it. I think it's a great audio recorder. I've already got the Zoom H6 and I thought that was really good. But this is a next step up from the H6. And it is really good. It's got 6 XLR inputs. You can see here I've got one microphone plugged into it, which is my Sennheiser MKE600 plugged in here. And it's got 5 other inputs, and the arrangement is sort of like spider-like, really. Really, it's quite an interesting arrangement. I suppose it makes it more compact to have the arrangement like that rather than in a row, because it'd be a really bulky piece of kit, wouldn't it? So, you know, it's quite an interesting arrangement. Now, on the top here, you've got Zoom's own microphone module system. So you can plug into that whatever type of microphone you want, as long as it's a Zoom microphone. It's got its own connection on the bottom there. Multi-pin connection, and that connects straight into the top here. It will take modules that fit the Zoom H5, the H6, and the little portable audio recorder. I have got a Zoom gun mic that will work with it. I can't imagine I'm ever going to use it with the gun mic, because it'd be far too bulky to stick on top of your camera or anything of that nature, but you can do. Now, what makes this unit particularly interesting is the 6 inputs are great, but it's the module system to be able to control it. And the 3 main modules is field, you've got field, music and podcasting. Now, I bought it as a field recorder. I also will use it for podcasting. So if we look at each one individually, so on the field side, you just click on field. When it loads up the display, and it'll load up your meters, and you can see that is really good. Nice clean meter. The audio level controls are controlled by just adjusting the input gain control here, and you can see there the input, the gain goes right up, and obviously the gain will go right down. Now what we're looking at here is the one input here, and you can see that is the one input here, and that is the stereo mix. So what it does, it's quite clever actually. Well, I think it's very clever. It can mix all those inputs down to a stereo output. I think actually it's a dual mono output, so it's an output that records to both left and right channel, but it isn't a stereo mix. It's basically a mix of all the mono inputs going in, which is great for video production. So you can either output a mixed signal, because you've got an output, a line output here on the side here, a line out that goes to your camcorder, your camera. I would normally take it out to my A10 Mini Pro, which is what I'm recording on here, or my Atomos Ninja 5. So you can take it out to whatever you want. And the great thing is, in the menu, if we go back to home here, let's go back to the home here. In the menu, it's got a line output setting. So you can go into your line output. Let's do that. USB line out. So you go to your line out, and you can either send a tone to the line out, or you can adjust the actual output level. So if the level is going out a bit hot, you can turn it right down, and if it isn't loud enough, you can turn it up. So that is really good. One button here takes you back home. Now, this particular video, I'm not recording the audio through the H8, because obviously if I'm demonstrating it to you, it's going to cut the audio on and off, so we don't want that. And the level is going to go up and down. It's going to be a right mess. But so we're not doing that, hence the reason I'm showing it to you. But I have actually done a video about the Zoom H8 and the multiple microphones. I've actually done a review on about 7 or 8 microphones, all connected to the H8. That'll be up on my channel probably after this one, to be fair. Yeah, so that's the flexibility of it, being able to take a line output to the camcorder and also adjust its level. Now, if we go back to field mode, as you arm each channel, so at the moment I've only got one, actually it's showing there if we look at that, it's showing here that I have 3 channels armed. So I've got the XY microphone armed, which is basically the red light there. Turn that off and that'll disarm it. And likewise channel A, that'll disarm. And now we've got the display changes. So it now is only reflecting the fact there's one input coming in. Can you see that here? Channel A input coming in, and the twin channel output, the left and right channel output, either to the SD card or to the line out. Well, it does both. So that's the other great thing with this recorder. It records internally to an SD card. I say internally, it's a separate card. It plugs into this little socket here. Don't like these rubber flaps. Never have liked these flaps on these devices. But their SD card slots into that slot there. SD or SDXC, the various types of SD cards. I think it goes up to 128 gig it will support. Actually, I'm just looking here, it goes up to 512 gig. So you would never need a card that size, you know, it's phenomenal. So you arm it just by clicking on one of the audio channels and then the red light will come on. So if we arm them all, including the XY, you can see how the display dramatically changes. It's now showing all the channels, which is great. Now obviously I've only got one channel live going in, so that's the reason there's only one audio level going up. But I think that is tremendous. But you can clearly see each individual channel. You can see if they're clipping, you can see if they're you know, too loud. I mean, that's phenomenal. And they're saying you just disarm them by pushing in. If I disarm them all, including the one channel that is going in, then you get nothing, and you just get the one left and right channel output. But that ain't going to move because there's nothing going in. But the minute you arm it, then that will come up there, and then the microphone will start working. Now, each separate channel has got a setting for phantom power, so you can turn phantom power on and off for each channel, and that is great. It's not one for all the channels, you know, and that is with some of the recorders, you turn phantom on and it will turn on for all the channels. Not with this device. You go into the menu and you select phantom power for each channel. So you basically, while you're in field mode, you go into, when I say field mode, as I say, you've got the different modes. You've got podcasting, podcast music and field. So if you're in field mode, you go into the microphone there, and then you choose your channel, say that one, and then you can choose phantom power on and off. Phantom is there, turn it on and off. It's on at the moment, obviously, and then that'll send phantom power down that channel to that particular microphone. And there's many other things. It's got limiters, it's got compressors, and it's all set for each individual channel. And I think that is great. And I say, just to adjust the levels, you literally just turn this little dial. It's a bit fiddly, but then that's kind of good as well, because you can't accidentally knock it. The levels are below, there's a little ridge here, and they're all below this ridge. So you can't sort of knock it too easy. Well, hardly at all you can't knock it. It's actually flush, you know, with the casing of the device. So that's pretty much how the field side of it works. Now, the only thing I have found that I found annoying when I was doing the microphone test is once you actually start recording, you just start recording by hitting the record button there. That'll start it recording, that arms it, and you can see here the recording indication coming up on the display there. So that is now recording to the SD card, as well as obviously outputting the signal via the line out. But the one thing that I was disappointed, there isn't any mute buttons on this device. So that kind of annoyed me, because when you've got, you know, several microphones all lined up, could be 2, could be 3. So you're doing, you know, an interview situation, but you don't want the microphone to be active until that person is ready to start talking. You can't arm or mute a channel. They won't go on or they won't come off, you know. While it's recording, it might not be able to see that, but I am hitting these buttons and nothing's happening. So you have to stop recording, which is frustrating if you're in the middle of a shoot and you have to stop the recorder just to, arm a channel or disarm a channel. So what I had to end up doing, which was really fiddly, I had to make sure all the channels were armed before I started recording, and then bring the levels up or down on the channel that I wanted to bring into, into the scene, as it were, and then turn the other channel down if I didn't want that one on. I find that a really big downside of this unit, that there's no way of muting a channel while it's actually recording. Now, it'd be great if there's any of my audience out there that have experience with a Zoom H8 and can show me where the mute button is, if there is a mute button for each channel. That would be really, really helpful. I know it's a compact unit, and I know the bigger units will do it because they're bigger, and there are going to be limitations with a compact unit. I completely accept that, but I can't see why they can't, this arm button, why that can't double up as a mute button. Because if you disarm the channel, well, that's muted it anyway, isn't it? Because you've disarmed it. So that would be one really helpful feature for me, would be to be able to, mute each channel rather than having to fiddle with the settings. I personally would like to preset the audio levels by doing a test run, leave them set, and then mute them if I didn't need that channel. Because I don't really want that channel on if that person isn't talking, because it may well pick up, distracting noises, so there we go. That's just one thing. You work around it, but it is just a little bit annoying. So that's for field side, where you can set up all your different channels, all the different levels come up. That is, really, really good. So then you've got the music side, and that is for doing overdubbing, music production. I'm not really into music at all, so I don't quite know how, this music side works. So I've not played with that. But the other one is podcasting, which is what I will be using a lot. I think it's a great system, and I think it's great that they've introduced a podcasting app in a portable audio recorder. It's taken a while to load it as well. I have noticed that. But again, that isn't a big downside because you'd preset it up before you go out and do any shooting. So what we have on the podcasting side is quite interesting. You've got your 4 sound pads. Now, sound pads are where you preload a sound effect. So that could be clapping, it could be a piece of music, it could be intro jingle or whatever. And that is great. And you've got your master audio levels coming up here. And that happens to be channel 1 that's coming in here. Now, there is one big downside. Again, you can set up your microphones in here. So you go into microphone, set your microphones up, your 6 or 7 or 5 or 2 microphones, whatever it may be, just the same as you do in the Field app. But what you don't have is a view of all your independent channels. The only view you've got is your master output level. And again, that's because the display is quite compact. It would be nice if, while you're recording, you could flick between these different modes. So you could actually see, by swiping maybe, you could see what each independent channel is doing. You can't. But there is a workaround to that, which I've come across. But you've got to add an extra piece of kit for that. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But basically, the podcasting app, you can plug in however many microphones you need. They can have phantom power if they need it. And then you've got your sound pad for each, not each channel, but you've got your sound pad to introduce into the master track. So that is great. Now, one useful thing with this piece of kit is, with the SD card, it will record all the individual channels and the master mix as well as a master, and that is great. So when you look at the SD card, there'll be various tracks. It actually says track 1, track 2, track 3, so on and so forth. And then I think it says LTR or LR, I can't remember now, but it gives you a master output. So if you only want to take that master output, you don't want to muck around with each individual track, you can do that. And that comes straight off the SD card. I mean, that is great. You don't need to set it up to do that. It automatically records, you know, all those tracks. I think that is really, really useful. Now, as I say, because you can't view your audio levels coming in the podcasting app, you really need to make sure that those levels are set before you actually start doing any recording. But there is, you know, something you can do. You can buy this little added extra. It's a Bluetooth adapter. You can buy this little Bluetooth adapter. It's annoying that they sell it separately. I don't know why it isn't built into the unit, but you know, hey ho, it isn't. And that slots into the bottom of the unit there, like so. And then you can connect an iPad. It's only iOS device, so you can connect either an iPhone or an iPad to this unit. You need to set it up. Now I've taken it out. I had it preset, but now I've taken it out. We can preset that up. It's got Bluetooth on here, so you swipe, because this is all touchscreen. Sorry, I can't see that if I do it from up here. That's swipeable. So you swipe over there, you go over to Bluetooth. You see there's a little thing there that says Bluetooth. Click on Bluetooth and then click on execute. Then in here, it will come up with Resume H8, there it is. Click on Resume H8. You can see there, that's executing, that's now saying connected. So that's now connected to my iPad. So we go out of that. Let's now, sorry, go out of that. Go back into, let's go back into the podcasting app. And then now, you can see obviously on the unit you've only got the master output, but on the iPad I can now see the master output levels, and you can see the input channel, and it's armed there. Channel 1 is armed, you can see that. The others are not armed. I can arm them at the moment because it isn't recording. So you can arm them from the iPad when it isn't recording, but you can't arm them. I don't know why number 3 doesn't want to arm. It's saying something there, but and then you've got your left and right output. So it's not. It's a very basic app. You can't do a lot with it really. It's more of a monitoring app. You can start recording with it by hitting the record button here, so you can start recording, and that will record on the device. You see the record lights come up on the device, so that's actually recording, and you can stop it recording. So that's now stops it recording. So, you know, it has its uses from that point of view, but it's not incredibly flexible. But, you know, it's okay. At least you can actually monitor what you're doing. If we go out of that, you then got, if you go into the field app, you can see there we're back to the field mode. For some reason, that microphone's been disarmed. So let's arm that microphone. I prefer to use the actual unit. You can see here the display, you know, again, that's displaying, and that's showing up on the app. Obviously, if I had all microphones armed and all the inputs running, that would be like Christmas tree lights going up and down like Christmas tree lights. But you know, the app is fine. And you know, obviously if you're using it on an iPhone, that's kind of better as well because it's more smaller. I like it on the iPad because it's a bigger display. I can just have it on my desk and it's a bigger display. So they're the 3 master apps. It's got a headphone jack as well, 1 headphone output. That's the other slight disadvantage with it. Being that it's only got 1 headphone jack, you can't give a set of headphones to each person on your podcast. And I know that's a very popular thing to do, but each person that's talking or going to be talking will have their own headphones. But again, you can't do that with a unit of this size. So you are going to have limitations, but that's going to be obvious really. If you do want a more, you know, flexible podcasting unit, you need to go for a bigger unit, something like the Rodecaster, the Rodecaster Pro, the Zoom PodTrack P8, something along those lines, but they're more bulkier to carry around. This is really compact to carry around, so you know, it has got USB-C, it's got USB-C connection, no, micro USB I think it is. I'm using it at the moment for power delivery. So I've got my V-Lock battery underneath this unit, and then I've got it going into the USB port to actually power the unit. So I'm not reliant on the, you know, internal batteries. It does take 4 AA batteries. The great thing is, if you're powering it from USB, then say that particular battery dies because you've been doing a lot of work with it, it will run off the AA batteries automatically. It doesn't stop recording, it'll just keep on going until those batteries run out. So you've got a lot of power options with this particular unit. It also acts as a USB interface to your computer. So that is great. I've not set that up, I haven't done that, but apparently that works with any of the audio editing programs, and that should be a really useful device. I prefer just to record direct to the SD card and then put that in the computer and then sync the audio with the video signal. I find that, you know, for video production, that's by far the easiest way. So that's, but again, it's for flexibility that this particular unit has, and I really like its flexibility. And in the settings, there's a whole range of audio settings. As I say, compressors, you've got audio limiters, you've got a whole range of different settings. The preamps are really powerful on this unit as well. The preamps are better than what they were on the H6. So if you're using dynamic microphones, which require, you know, a lot of power, this is going to handle dynamic microphones just that little bit better than what the Zoom H6 does. If you're using condenser electric microphones, I think they're both going to be very similar. But dynamic microphones, some of them, apparently the Shure, is it the SM7? I'm not sure which model number it is, but that requires a lot of gain to get a really good signal from that microphone. So, you know, this will actually handle that. Apparently this handles that really, really, really well. Now, it has got XLR inputs, but it's got 2 inputs on the side here that are classed as A and B. Now, they're XLR. On the side, you've got all these different microphone inputs, but apparently these ones are XLR inputs, as you can see. They're standard XLR inputs. But this here has got a 3/4 inch jack as well as XLR, so that takes either or. They haven't put that on all 6 inputs, they've only put that on 2 of them. So, and they've classed those inputs as inputs A and B, which I think is a bit bizarre. It confused me when I was doing the audio recording, A and B and 1, 2, 3 and 4 for the microphone, for the XLR microphone inputs. For me, it would have been better to go, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, whatever configuration they wanted, rather than go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then A and B. I just found that a bit confusing. But, you know, again, it's one of those things you'll get used to after a while, isn't it? You know, you know, overall, I think it's a fantastic piece of kit. With this module that fits on top, not only has it got the XY, you know, the microphones on the top here, the stereo pattern microphones on the top, set up as an XY pattern. It's also got a 3.5mm jack input, so you can plug, you know, your wireless microphones or your microphones with a 3.5mm jack straight into this, and that cancels out the XY microphone pattern. So you know, it's very flexible. It is flexible, and again, you've got your audio level control on the top of the of this unit separately, and that controls the input going into that particular channel. So yeah, that is pretty much an overview of the Zoom H8 audio recorder. And I love this display. I love the way it's showing, very clearly showing the audio levels coming in to the unit. And as I say, the fact that it's only got one headphone jack, that is fine for field recording, but could be you know, a little bit annoying if you're planning to do a lot of podcasting with this particular unit. I think you can do it, but you might just find that a little bit frustrating. But there we go. Yeah, that's an overview of the Zoom H8 field audio recorder. I hope you found that really interesting. I will be doing a comparison between the Zoom H8 and the Zoom H6 at some point, so keep an eye out for that. But thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you found that useful, and stay tuned for more videos relating to video and photography. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button if you did like the content of this video. It does help me grow the channel, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate comments in the comment section as well. So thanks very much. Cheers for now. Bye.